In Showa, Tokyo, around 1965, in the two-burner kitchen of a Tokiwadera Danchi apartment, a 50-year-old grandmother named Sato-san stood in front of a small gas ring and cooked a full pork budadon in 9 minutes flat. Rice from the rice cooker, thin sliced pork on the frying pan, a splash of soy and sugar and sake, one grated onion, done. Her husband was at the metal factory. Her 2 adult sons were gone. She was, statistically, one of the first Japanese women in history who cooked cheap, fast meals for one person on purpose. Today, most Western seniors her age eat dinner through a car window. Number 12 on this list closed in 2022 and reopened last November in a 12-story tower. Number 1 was invented in a shed. This is 25 cheap Japanese vintage 10-minute dinners for seniors living alone. Number 25, Chahan. Chinese fried rice arrived in Japan in the 1860s when Chinese immigrants set up in the ports of Kobe and Yokohama, and by the mid-Showa era, the Yokohama Chukagai district had grown to over 600 restaurants and food shops packed into a few square blocks. What the Danchi housewife took from Chukagai was the technique. Cold leftover rice from last night, 1 egg, a chopped green onion, 1 scoop of lard from the jar next to the stove, and whatever protein was in the fridge. Chashu, if you had it, ham if you did not, nothing if it was the end of the month. 12 minutes total, 7 minutes at the pan. A post-war Yokohama street stall Chahan sold for 30 yen in 1960, roughly $1 American in today's money. A modern konbini Chahan is 480 yen. The generation of Chinese-Japanese cooks who built Yokohama Chukagai are now overwhelmingly in their 80s. Their children, in most cases, did not stay in the kitchen. Number 24, Neapolitan. On August 30th, 1945, General Douglas MacArthur landed at Atsugi Air Base and drove directly to the Hotel New Grand in Yokohama, which had somehow survived the firebombing intact. The hotel became American headquarters for 3 days and an officer's residence for 7 years. The second head chef, Iri Shigetada, watched American soldiers boil canned spaghetti and stir in ketchup, and he thought, we can do better than this. He built a proper sauce with fresh tomatoes, tomato paste, garlic, onion, and served it under the name Spaghetti Neapolitan. Starting around 1950, a Yokohama restaurant called Center Grill, still operating on Isazaki-cho since 1946, took the idea and made a cheaper ketchup version with bacon and green peppers. And that is what became the household Showa Neapolitan. A Cafe Neapolitan in 1965 was 200 yen. Modern Hotel New Grand Neapolitan is 1,700 yen. Yokohama kept the ketchup pan. American diners built the microwave lasagna tray. Number 23, Kari Raisu. Japanese curry rice did not arrive as a home dish. It arrived as a Meiji Navy public health project. In the 1880s, thousands of Japanese sailors were dying of beriberi from a diet of polished white rice, and Navy surgeon Takaki Kanehiro led the Haishoku Kaikaku, the naval dietary reforms which introduced a thickened curry stew derived from the British Royal Navy as regular provisions. The recipe was published in 1888 Kaigen Kapujutsu Sankosho, the official culinary manual of the Imperial Japanese Navy, and it specified beef or chicken, potato, carrot, onion, curry powder, wheat flour, salt, served over rice. Beriberi, cases in the Navy, collapsed. When those sailors were demobilized, they took the recipe home. By the mid-Showa era, House Vermont curry roux boxes were on every Danchi shelf. A post-war curry rice was 40 yen in 1960. A modern House Vermont box is 200 yen and feeds 4. Curry rice became Japan's national dish through documented military nutrition policy. Number 22, hambagu. Meat was scarce in Japan through the late 1950s and expensive. In 1962, Marussian Foods launched the Marussian Hamburg, a pre-cooked processed patty that a housewife could sear in a frying pan and serve in 90 seconds. Marussian ran television commercials constantly, And between 1965 and 1974, hambagu was added to national school lunch menus, which meant that an entire generation of Showa children grew up thinking a beef and pork patty with panko and grated onion served over rice with a splash of Worcestershire and ketchup was a Japanese food. A Marussian Hamburg pack cost 30 yen in 1962, about $1 today. A modern supermarket pack is 158 yen. You can make the from-scratch version in a danchi kitchen with 200 grams of ground pork and beef, 1 egg, panko, salt, and pepper in 12 minutes, and it will taste like the school lunch a 70-year-old Japanese man remembers from 1968. Number 21. Korokke. The French croquette arrived in Japan in 1887 with formal French-Japan diplomatic relations, and Japanese cooks immediately hit a problem. There was almost no dairy in Meiji Japan, so they replaced the bechamel base with mashed potato. In 1917, a novelty song called Korokke no Uta, the Song of the Korokke, became a national hit, and korokke went from luxury Western dish to shokudo staple in 1 year. In 1927, Seiroku Abe, a former Western restaurant chef, opened the butcher shop Choshiya in Ginza and started deep-frying korokke behind the counter using minced beef and lard scraps that would otherwise be waste. Around the corner, the soba shop Yoshida, founded in 1885, began serving korokke inside a bowl of hot soba broth, and korokke soba was born. Yoshida closed permanently in 2025 after 140 years. A Showa butcher shop korokke was 5 yen in 1950, about 30 cents today. A modern Choshiya korokke is 80 yen. Choshiya is one of the last of its kind. Number 20. Nikujaga. The story is that Marshal Admiral Togo Heihachiro, having studied at the Royal Naval College in Portsmouth from 1871 to 1878, could not forget the taste of British beef stew. When he was stationed at Kure in 1890 and later Maizuru in 1901, he ordered the Navy chef to reproduce it. The chef had never seen beef stew and had no red wine, no butter, no demi-glace. He used soy sauce, sugar, and dashi with beef, potato, onion, carrot, and shirataki noodles. He called it amani sweet stew. The recipe was documented in the Navy Kitchen Management textbook alongside curry rice, and it stayed a Navy dish for 60 years. In the 1960s, a women's magazine renamed it Nikujaga, meat and potatoes, and printed the recipe. Japanese mothers made it their weekly dish. The city of Kure declared itself the birthplace in 1997. Cost in 1965 was about 80 yen per portion. Japan turned a naval commander's memory of a British beef stew into a home dinner that outlasted the empire. The West turned the same idea into a slow cooker Instagram video. Number 19. Menchi Katsu. The Ginza Yoshoku restaurant Rengate opened in 1895, and over the following 10 years invented or popularized most of what modern Japanese people think of as Western food. Menchi Katsu was one of them. Ground beef and pork, minced onion, salt, pepper, nutmeg, formed into a patty coated in flour, egg, and panko, deep-fried until the outside shatters. Cheaper than tonkatsu because you did not need a whole piece of pork loin, only scraps and trimming. After 1946, Yoshoku houses in Asakusa, particularly Yoshikami on the covered arcade, refined the version with a lighter demi-glace on the side, and Menchi Katsu became a Showa 50 yen dinner. A butcher shop, Menchi Katsu in 1955 was 15 yen, about $1. A modern supermarket menchi is 200 yen. The Asakusa Yoshoku houses of the Showa boom are down to a handful of surviving second-generation and third-generation operators, most now in their 70s and 80s. Yoshikami still does the same demi-glace from the same pot. Number 18. Doria. In 1930, at the Hotel New Grand in Yokohama, A guest arrived feeling ill and asked for something soft. The first head chef, Sally Weil, a Swiss trained in classical French cuisine, took butter rice, layered it with shrimp in cream sauce, poured bechamel over the top, sprinkled cheese, and baked it. He called it Doria after a noble Genoese family. It was the first version of a dish that does not exist anywhere in Europe. Doria became a Showa household aspirational dish through the 1960s when Meiji brand canned bechamel appeared on supermarket shelves. Danchi housewives layered leftover rice, mixed frozen shrimp, cheap cheese, and canned bechamel, and baked it in whatever small toaster oven they owned. Doria at the modern Hotel New Grand is 2,800 yen, about $19. A Danchi version cost about 60 yen in ingredients in 1965. The Hotel New Grand main building has stood in Yokohama since 1927, designated a Yokohama City Historic Building in 1992, and a Heritage of Industrial Modernization by the Ministry of Economy in 2007. Here is where the cheap gets serious. The next dish was invented by one Hokkaido cook feeding hungry farmers in 1933, and the restaurant is still standing exactly where his daughter runs it today. And number 16 takes 8 minutes and uses whatever 3 vegetables are in your refrigerator right now. Number 17, Butadon. In 1933, in front of Obihiro Station in the Tokachi region of Hokkaido, a cook named Abe opened a restaurant called Pancho and served a bowl of grilled pork slices over rice, glazed with a sweet savory sauce that imitated unagi kabayaki. He had originally wanted to use eel since Tokachi farmers were exhausting themselves clearing land, but eels were unavailable inland and expensive. Pigs, however, were everywhere. Tokachi had built a thriving pork industry starting in the 1890s. 1932 had been a famine year. 1933 was a great harvest, and Abe had rice, pork, sugar, and soy. That was enough. He grilled thick loin slices over charcoal and glazed them at the table. Pancho has operated continuously in the same spot for over 90 years. It is now run by Sachiko Abe, the founder's eldest daughter. The signature bowl is called Hana, and it is topped with 8 slices. A Pancho Butadon in 1965 was 200 yen. Modern Pancho Butadon is 1,320 yen. Number 16, Chuka Don. Yokohama Chuka-gai had 600 shops by the mid-1960s, and every one of them sold some version of Chuka Don, a Chinese-influenced Japanese wok dish poured over hot rice. Sliced pork, cabbage, carrot, bamboo shoot, wood ear mushroom, and quail egg stir-fried in one pan, thickened with a splash of oyster sauce, soy, chicken stock, and cornstarch slurry, poured over rice while it was still bubbling. Total time at the stove, 7 minutes. The genius of Chukadon is that whatever 3 vegetables you have in your danchi refrigerator will work. Half an onion, a limp piece of Chinese cabbage, 1 carrot, a splash of soy, a splash of oyster sauce, a splash of sake, 1 heaping teaspoon of cornstarch, 1 egg cracked on top at the end. Cost in a Showa shokudo in 1965 was 150 yen, about $2 today. A modern konbini chuka don is 750 yen. You could cook one in your kitchen this weekend for the price of a Tokyo subway ride. Number 15, Omuraise. Rengatei in Ginza opened in 1895. In 1900, the kitchen staff started eating a fast staff meal of scrambled egg mixed with fried rice and other bits, folded into a shape you could eat with a spoon. A regular customer saw it, asked to try it, and omurix went on the public menu. Ketchup was not yet available in Japan, so the original Renga-te omuris used soy sauce, sugar, and a splash of red wine with demi-glace on the side. Renga-te still uses that exact recipe today. Chefs there report that it takes 3 to 5 years to perfect the outer omelet, which uses 3 large eggs per portion, cooked over low heat, continuously stirred with chopsticks. Renga-te has stood on the same street in Ginza for 130 continuous years. A Showa Cafe Omurachi in 1965 was 130 yen. A Rengate Omurachi today is 1,800 yen, about $12, and the chefs behind the counter learned the technique from the men who learned it from the men who learned it in 1900. Number 14. Hayashi rice. Rengate is also the most cited origin for Hayashi rice, the Meiji-era hashed beef and onion in demi-glace over rice. The name comes from Hayashi Uteki, a Meiji businessman and bookseller, though the attribution is disputed. What is not disputed is that by 1900, Hayashi rice was on Ginza Yoshoku menus, alongside omiriche tonkatsu and menchi katsu, from the same Rengate kitchen. The Showa household version is faster than the restaurant version. Thin sliced beef, 1 onion, 1 can of demi-glace, or 1 packet of instant Hayashi rice sauce, 10 minutes on the stove, poured over rice. A Showa Hayashi rice in 1965 was 90 yen. A modern Yoshoku Hayashi rice is around 950 yen. Ginza kept the demi-glace over rice. American beef stew became a Campbell's can. The next 3 all came out of the same neighborhood of Tokyo in the same 20-year period, and one was invented by an 18-year-old student. The building where he stood is still there, though the cafe closed decades ago. Number 13. Katsudon. In February 1921, Keijiro Nakanishi was an 18-year-old first-year student at Waseda University Senior High School, living in a lodging house near the Kani River in Waseda. He was tired of the same cutlet and rice on a plate. He walked into the cafe house kitchen, took a fried pork cutlet, cut it, laid it over a bowl of rice, and topped it with a thickened sauce of wheat flour and oyster sauce. Katsudon spread from Waseda cafes to Ginza and Nihonbashi restaurants within 2 months and reached Dotonbori in Osaka by summer. The modern version with egg and dashi and simmered onion was popularized shortly after by the soba shop Sanchowan on Babashita-cho, Shinjuku. Sanchowan operated for approximately 100 years and closed permanently at the end of July 2018. A Showa Katsudon in 1965 was 250 yen. A modern konbini Katsudon is 780 yen. Nakanishi lived to see his own invention become the meal Japanese students eat the night before a college entrance exam, because katsu also means to win. Number 12. Oyakodon. Tamahide opened in 1760 in Nihonbashi Ningyocho as a shamo nabe hot pot house, one of the oldest continuously operating restaurants in Tokyo. In 1891, Toku Yamada, wife of the 5th-generation owner Hideyoshi, noticed that customers were pouring the leftover chicken and egg sukiyaki broth over rice and mixing it into a personal bowl. She codified the dish, called it Oyakodon, parent and child bowl, and put it on the menu. It stayed on the menu for 131 years. In 2022, Tamahide closed for extensive renovation. It reopened in November 2025 in a newly built 12-story Tamahide building, 5 seconds from the A2 exit of Tokyo Metro Ningyocho Station. The building now houses a Nihonshu bar on the 2nd floor and a shamonabe restaurant on the 12th. The original Oyakodon costs 2,800 yen. In 1965, a Showa Danshi Kitchen Oyakodon cost 90 yen in ingredients. You can make one in 11 minutes with 2 chicken thighs, 1 onion, 3 eggs, dashi, soy, mirin, and sugar. Number 11. Gyudon. Nihonbashi Yuogashi was Tokyo's fish market before Tsukiji, and in 1899 a man named Eikichi Matsuda opened a small shop called Yoshinoya to feed the fishermen and porters between shifts. His original bowl was thinly sliced beef belly simmered with onions in a warashita broth, served in arita-ware bowls with a mound of pickled red ginger on the side. The 1923 Great Kanto earthquake destroyed his restaurant and most of the Nihonbashi market. He rebuilt in Tsukiji in 1926. The 1945 Tokyo air raid destroyed the second restaurant. He rebuilt again in 1947 under his son Mizuho, and in 1952 Yoshinoya became the first restaurant in Japan to attempt 24-hour operation. The company went bankrupt in 1980 during a bad expansion and rebuilt again. It is arguably the oldest continuously operating fast food chain in the world. The 1899 gyumeshi cost 5 sen. A modern Yoshinoya Nami Mori Gyudon is 468 yen, roughly $3. In 1965, home cooks made the same dish in 10 minutes with 200 grams of thin sliced beef, 1 onion, dashi, soy, sugar, sake, and mirin. Number 10. Shogayaki. There is no famous restaurant of origin. Ginger fried pork became a Showa 1950s and 1960s home dinner because it was cheap, fast, and required nothing that a danchi housewife did not already have. Thin sliced pork loin from the butcher, 1 thumb of ginger, grated on a wooden grater, soy, sake, mirin, sugar. 3 minutes in the pan. Serve over rice with shredded cabbage on the side. A Showa portion cost about 100 yen in ingredients in 1965, about $3 today. A modern supermarket, Shogayaki Teishoku, is 550 yen. It is the meal your working father cooked for himself when your mother was away visiting family. It is the meal a widower cooks for himself when he does not want to think. Japan kept the frying pan, 1 pig, 1 ginger root. Modern America built a $50 a week meal kit box. Number 9. Sanma no Shioyaki. Salt grilled Pacific sori is a September and October dish. The whole fish is scaled, gutted, salted for 15 minutes, and grilled over an open flame or under a fish broiler for 6 minutes per side. Served with grated daikon, a wedge of sudachi or lemon, and soy. A Kashiwa study, 2020 in Chiba Prefecture, following 1,241 community-dwelling Japanese aged 65 and older, found that adherence to a traditional washoku dietary pattern, including grilled fish, was inversely associated with sarcopenia, muscle loss. That is not a marketing claim. That is 1,241 people tracked. But Japanese Fisheries Agency data shows sanma catches have collapsed by more than 90% from their 1980s peak, and a sanma that cost 30 yen at Tsukiji in 1970 now costs 250 to 400 yen per fish. The autumn table of the Showa danchi generation is disappearing with the fish itself. Number 8. Mabo Tofu. In 1958, a Sichuan-born chef named Chen Kenmin opened a restaurant called Shisen Hanten in Tamara-cho, Tokyo. Chen had trained in Chinese imperial cuisine, but recognized that Japanese palates were not ready for full Sichuan heat. He adapted Mabo tofu, by using ground pork and leeks instead of beef and garlic chives, cutting the chili, and using Japanese miso and soy sauce in place of ingredients he could not source. The Japan-Sichuan diplomatic freeze meant he could import nothing. He built the recipe from Japanese pantry. Then, starting in the 1960s, Chen appeared regularly on the national public broadcaster's cooking show Kyo no Ryori, Today's Cuisine. Millions of Japanese housewives watched him fold silken tofu into a wok of chili oil and pork sauce, and Mabo tofu became a household dish. Chen died in 1990. Shisen Hanten is now run by his grandson Chen Kentaro, third generation Michelin-starred. A Marumiya instant Mabo tofu sauce packet is 158 yen. The from-scratch version takes 12 minutes. Number 7. Buri Daikon. Yellowtail simmered with daikon radish. The dish uses the fish head or collar, the cheapest part of the yellowtail, and 1 thick disc of winter daikon per person, simmered slowly in soy, sake mirin, sugar, ginger, and dashi until the daikon is translucent and the fish flakes cleanly off the bone. It became a Showa household winter standard after the 1960s expansion of yellowtail farming in Toyama and Kagawa dropped the price. A Showa yellowtail collar in 1968 was 40 yen, about $1.50 today. A modern supermarket collar is 300 yen. Simmering time is 20 minutes, but active work is under 7. Japan turned a fish head and a radish into dinner. American supermarkets throw both away. Number 6. Yaki udon. In 1945, in Kokura in Kitakyushu, the noodle house Daruma-do could not get soba flour. Post-war rationing had cut the supply. The owner, Yasusaburo Nakamura, substituted udon noodles in his existing yakisoba recipe, stir-fried them with cabbage, pork, and a Worcestershire soy sauce, and served the result to hungry, rebuilding workers. It sold out within hours. Yaki udon became a Showa street corner and household staple through the 1950s and the 1960s and remains a Kitakyushu regional specialty. A Daruma Doyaki udon today is 800 yen. A Showa household version cost 50 yen in 1965. The active cook time is 8 minutes. Daruma Do is still in operation in Kokura, still on its original spot, and the current proprietor learned the recipe from his father, who learned it from Nakamura himself. Traditional yaki udon shops in Kitakyushu number in the low dozens today, and the average proprietor is over 70. Number 5. Chikuzen Ni. The Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries selected Chikuzen Ni in 2007 as one of the 100 local dishes of rural villages. The Kyoto Ryori Hayakusen, representing Fukuoka Prefecture. The dish is a simmered mixture of chicken thigh, lotus root, taro, carrot, konjac, and gobo, cooked in dashi, soy, sake, miran, and sugar, until the broth reduces to a glaze. It is a Sunday cooking dish that yields 5 or 6 portions from one pot. A Showa household batch cost about 120 yen in ingredients in 1965. A modern deli portion is 900 yen. What matters for a senior living alone is that one pot cooked on Sunday feeds a person for the next 3 dinners, refrigerated without losing quality. The ministry's 2007 selection formally recognized Chikuzen Ni as one of the 100 dishes essential to Japanese rural food heritage, worth preserving as intangible culinary tradition. Number 4. Soboro-don. 3-color minced chicken bowl. Minced chicken cooked dry with sugar and soy sauce until it becomes crumbly, called soboro. Scrambled egg cooked hard and broken into small curds. Blanched green vegetable, usually snow peas or spinach. 3 parallel stripes across a bed of rice. Total cook time from cold pan to plated bowl, 10 minutes. It was a Showa bento standard and became a household solo dinner standard through the 1970s. A Showa household soboro-don cost 60 yen in 1965. A modern bento shop soboro-don is 550 yen. Tokyo turned 100 grams of chicken into a full 3-color meal. The West turned 300 grams of chicken into a shake. The last 3 are the fastest, cheapest, and most nostalgic on this list. And number 1 was invented in a shed in an Osaka backyard by a man working 18 hours a day for a year, and it changed how billions of people eat. Number 3, Tenshin Han, a Chinese-Japanese hybrid dish invented in Japan in the early 1900s, named for the Chinese port of Tianjin, though the dish does not exist in China. Beaten egg with crab meat and green onion, cooked as a soft omelet, laid over a mound of rice, poured with a glossy chicken stock and vinegar sauce, thickened with cornstarch. Both the Osaka restaurant Daiichi-ru and the Tokyo restaurant Rai Rai Ken in Asakusa claim the origin, both in the 1910s. By the 1950s, Tenshin Han was standard on every Chuka Ryori Shokudo menu in Japan, and the Rai Rai Ken lineage still runs in Asakusa today. Home cooks in the Showa Danshi era used imitation crab, which was cheaper. A Showa Shokudo Tenshin Han in 1965 was 180 yen. A modern one is 750 yen. Total cook time 6 minutes if the rice is already made. Number 2, Hayashi Chuka, cold ramen salad, the Showa summer dinner, invented in 1937 by the restaurant Ryute in Sendai, originally called Ryoban Menkan cold plate noodles. Cold ramen noodles topped with julienne ham, cucumber, thin egg omelet, red pickled ginger, and dressed with a sesame vinegar soy dressing. When the summer heat in a mid-Showa danchi apartment reached 40 degrees Celsius and there was no air conditioning, Hayashi Chuka was the only thing a person could eat. Ryute is still operating in Sendai, still serves the original recipe, and marked its 90th anniversary in 2027 with a special commemorative bowl. A Showa Hayashi Chuka in 1970 was 200 yen. A Ryute modern bowl is 1,300 yen. A konbini modern Hayashi Chuka is 480 yen. The traditional summer sign that reads Hayashi Chuka Hajime Mashita. Cold ramen has started, still goes up in Japanese noodle shops on the first day it hits 25 degrees. Number 1, Chicken Ramen. On August 25, 1958, in a wooden shed behind his house in Ikeda, Osaka, a 50-year-old Taiwanese-Japanese businessman named Momofuku Ando finished a project that had taken him a year of solitary 18-hour days. He had watched a black market ramen line stretching for 2 blocks in post-war Osaka and decided that hot noodles ought to be something a person could keep on a shelf. He tried and failed hundreds of times, and one day he watched his wife making tempura and realized flash frying was the answer. He invented instant noodles. The first bag of chicken ramen cost 35 yen in 1958, roughly 6 times the price of a bowl of fresh udon at the time, but a housewife could keep 6 of them in a cupboard and cook one in 3 minutes with hot water and 1 raw egg cracked on top. Nissin still produces the original bag today. It costs 108 yen. Ando died on January 5, 2007, at the age of 96. He had reportedly eaten a bowl of chicken ramen almost every day of his adult life. The shed in Ikeda, where he invented it, has been preserved exactly as he left it, on public display inside the Cup Noodles Museum. Sato-san, from the beginning of this list, is dead. She died in the Tokiwadera Danchi in the 1990s, and if the pattern of her generation held, she died alone. Japan has a term for it now, kodokushi, the dying alone death, and it is concentrated in the same danchi complexes built between 1955 and 1975 that were once the pride of the middle class. 99,763 Japanese people were over 100 years old in late 2024. Most of them lived alone. Most of them cooked for themselves right up to the end. Pick one from this list, just one. Try shogayaki this weekend. Grill a sanma with just salt in October. Crack an egg on top of a bag of chicken ramen and eat it standing up over your kitchen sink. You cannot buy dignity, but you can cook it. Japan kept the 2-burner kitchen. The West built the DoorDash app. One produced 96-year-old inventors. The other produced 50-year-old customers.